Welcome back to our Constitution. I'm Roger Leon, and I'm going to help guide you through this very important document. So far, we have gone through Article 1. Remember, the articles are like chapters. In that first article, the Congress, consisting of the House of Representatives and the Senate, were established. Now we're going to take a look at Article 2. Article 2 establishes the executive branch of our government. If we haven't said it before, our government, as set up under this Constitution, has three co-equal branches. The branch closest to the voters was defined first, and that is the Congress, in Article 1. Now we'll look at the second branch of the government, which again is the executive branch. Article 2 only has 4 sections, and today we'll consider the first of those. Section 1 of Article 2 reads, "The executive power shall be vested in a President of the United States of America. He shall hold his office during the term of 4 years, and together with the Vice President, chosen for the same term, be elected as follows. Each state shall appoint, in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct, a number of electors, equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. The electors shall meet in their respective states and vote by ballot for 2 persons, of whom at least one shall not be an inhabitant of the same state with themselves. And they shall make a list of all persons voted for, and the number of votes for each, which list they shall sign and certify and transmit to the seat of the government of the United States, directed to the President of the Senate. The President of the Senate shall, in the presence of the Senate and the House of Representatives, open all the certificates, and the votes shall then be counted. The person having the greatest number of votes shall be the President, if such number be a majority of the whole number of electors appointed. And if there be more than one who have such majority, and an equal number of votes, then the House of Representatives shall immediately choose by ballot one of them for president. And if no person have a majority, then from the 5 highest on the list, the said House shall in a like manner choose the President. But in choosing the President, the vote shall be taken by states, the representation from each state having 1 vote. A quorum for this purpose shall consist of a member or members from 2/3 of the states, and a majority of all states shall be necessary to a choice. In every case, after the choice of the President, the person having the greatest number of votes of the electors shall then be Vice President. But if there should remain 2 or more who have equal votes, the Senate shall choose from them by ballot the Vice President. The Congress may determine the time of choosing the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. No person, except a natural-born citizen or a citizen of the United States, at the time of the adoption of this Constitution, shall be eligible to the office of President. Neither shall any person be eligible to that office who shall not have attained the age of 35 years and been 14 years a resident within the United States. In the case of the removal of the president from office or of his death, resignation, or inability to discharge the powers and duties of the said office, the Senate shall devolve on the vice president, and the Congress may, by law, provide for the case of removal, death, resignation, or inability, both of the president and the vice president, declaring what officer shall then act as president, and such officer shall act accordingly until the disability be removed or a president shall be elected. The president shall, at stated times, receive for his services a compensation which shall neither be increased or diminished during the period for which he shall be elected. And he shall not receive within that period any other emolument from the United States or any of them. Before he enter on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the office of the President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So this section establishes that the President is the sole holder of the executive power. Then this section talks about how a president is elected. And because the system adopted by our founders is really quite different, we'll only touch upon it today. And we'll come back and look at it in detail. But basically, each state is given a number of electors based on its population. And that's very generally on its population, because the population determines, as we knew from Article 1, determines how many members of Congress. You remember that each state has 2 senators, but the number of Congress members or members of the House of Representatives are determined by the population. And then it's the number of representatives plus the number of senators that determines how many electors each state will have. And even that has changed over time, because you remember in Article 1 that 30,000 people were the number that were required for a district or for a representative. So for each representative, he would represent 30,000 people. Well, of course, if we had that today, we would have thousands of representatives. And of course, there's only 531. And so districts today, congressional districts today, can have 500,000 people or 750,000 people. We'll look at that in greater depth to understand better exactly how the Electoral College works, which is very different than the popular vote. And it's very relevant today as we're in the season for a presidential election. You really aren't the one who decides in our system who becomes president. You decide who the electors are and how the electors should vote. And then it is them, through this system of voting, casting votes that are cast by state into the House of Representatives, into the Congress, who the president and the vice president are going to be. This section establishes that the age requirement to be the president and the requirement of being a natural born citizen. This section also describes how the vice president is chosen. And it also describes what happens if the president is unable to serve out their full term. Next time, we'll look at Section 2 of Article 2. And until then, we'll say goodbye.